Hi, this is Mrs. Maglinte. So today we're going to be painting some pumpkins that are out in the field and they still have their vines attached. And so let's go ahead and let's start with our verse. Now I take the brush so gently in my hand with love and care. Watch the colors flow so softly on my paper, clean and clear. So let's say that together. 1, 2, 3. Now I take the brush so gently in my hand with love and care. Watch the colors flow so softly on my paper, clean and clear. So since it is almost Halloween, I thought it would be nice to sing our jack-o'-lantern song that you probably would remember from kindergarten. Jack-o'-lantern, jack-o'-lantern, you are such a pretty sight, as you sit there in the window, looking out at the night. You were once a yellow pumpkin, growing on a sturdy vine. Now you are a jack-o'-lantern, let your little light shine. So today we're going to be painting one orange pumpkin and one green pumpkin that still has a little way to go before that pumpkin will be ripe. So I'm going to dry off my paper. Gently smoothing it to dry it. So I'm going to be using the carmine red and the lemon yellow and the ultramarine blue. And I'm going to be using Peter paintbrush to paint with. So make sure you have a cloth that you can wipe your brush off with. So the way we're going to start is we're going to make sure we have a clean, wet brush, and we're going to dip it into the yellow. And let's make a beautiful golden sky here with lots of light, lots of sunlight. And sunlight is what a pumpkin needs to ripen. So the pumpkin started off as a tiny seed and then grew a beautiful flower, and then the flower started to grow the pumpkin. And if you're growing pumpkins, you know they come in all different sizes, different shapes. We actually have one pumpkin at our house that is a beautiful orange, and one pumpkin got a late start. And much like the pumpkin that we're going to paint today, is still green. And so maybe that pumpkin will be green when it's time to carve our jack-o'-lanterns. We'll just have one green pumpkin and one orange pumpkin. So we've covered all the paper with the glorious color of sun, all the corners. We've made sure that we've covered all of the white spots. We don't want to see any paper. All right. And then let's go ahead and rinse our brush off. So the first pumpkin we're going to do is going to be right in here. And so I just rinsed off my brush and I dried it just like this. And I'm going to dip the tip of it into the red. Can you see that? Not too much. And then when I mix the red and the yellow, I'm going to get a beautiful orange. So we don't really need any more paint than just that. And let's go ahead and fill that in. make it just a little bit bigger here. All right, so there's Mama Pumpkin. Now I'm going to rinse off my brush, and I'm going to do just what I did before. I'm going to dry it just like this. And again, I'm going to dip the tip. This time I'm going to dip the tip into the blue. And now here's Baby Pumpkin. And again, we only need to dip it in just that one time. And we're going to make a really nice green. So take your time. See if we can make another pumpkin that's not as big as Mama Pumpkin. Okay. Now what we're going to rinse off our brush again. Okay, let's go ahead and dry it. So now we're going to make the beautiful, first we're going to make the stem of the pumpkin, and then we're going to make beautiful vines with a nice curved stroke like this. And then we can add some little leaves. So let's again dip into, we have a dry brush. I've dipped into just the blue just a little bit. And let's see if we can make the pumpkin stem. And it kind of comes down like this into 3. Like that. Okay. And now let's do this one over here. This one's going to be smaller because it's a smaller pumpkin. Bring that. You have to make sure you anchor your pumpkin stem onto your pumpkin. Now what we're going to do, we're going to dip the tip back into the blue, and let's make a beautiful pumpkin vine. Make some swirls if we want. And here's, so it kind of comes down, so the mama is touching the baby there. And then here's this one coming up, and the baby comes over and touches the mama. And then this one kind of comes over like this. All right? Now let's add a leaf. So if we kind of make that kind of a shape, there's our leaf. And let's make another leaf up here. Another pumpkin leaf. And how about one down in here? So now what we're going to do, we have to have some ground for our pumpkins to grow on. So again, I dipped it into the blue. And I'm going to kind of go around the pumpkins just a little bit so that they don't run too much into the ground. I'll show you what we're going to do next. So you see how I left a little yellow space there? So here's the ground. Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take little upward strokes like this. And these are going to be like the little grasses that are growing. So usually when you're in a pumpkin field, you'll find plenty of little grasses and weeds growing alongside the pumpkin. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to take our brush, and I've rinsed it off, and I'm going to dry it now. This is really important. We need to dry it. And look how we can lift out the color, and then we dry it. Now I'm going to do the pumpkin, the mama pumpkin. So you see how her lines, they go out this way, the curve, and then the curve goes the opposite way and goes like this. So you see the difference? You see how this is rounded? We make these lines here with the same shape as the outside of the pumpkin. And that makes our pumpkin look round. And then we're going to take the back of our brush handle and we're going to sign our name. All right, so there's our Halloween pumpkin still growing on the vines. And thank you very much for joining me for this watercolor lesson. I look forward to painting with you again. Bye-bye.